At least 7 major international powers, all known as American allies, have offered help to ensure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. But 3 of them now say that any military aid would come only after the ceasefire. In a joint statement on Thursday, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the Netherlands said that they are ready to contribute to appropriate efforts to ensure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. They were later joined by Canada. The statement came after US President Donald Trump rallied against allies for declining to help secure the strait and warned that a failure to do so could undermine the future of NATO. The 6 nations expressed their support for a potential coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz for commercial ships and oil tankers. However, the joint statement fell short of stating any commitment to send naval vessels or other resources. Later, Italy, Germany, and France made it clear that they are not talking about any immediate military help, but rather a potential multilateral initiative after a ceasefire. In peacetime, a fifth of global crude oil and liquefied natural gas passed through the Strait of Hormuz, but an effective Iranian blockade of the strait has paralyzed commercial shipping through the crucial maritime choke point. 23 commercial vessels, including 10 tankers, have reported incidents or having been attacked. According to the International Maritime Organization, about 20,000 seafarers are stranded on approximately 3,200 vessels west of the strait. President Trump has urged other world powers and NATO to help reopen the Hormuz Strait, but they have rebuffed his call in the short term while insisting they were open to discussions and planning. Italy's defense minister said the joint statement should not be seen as a war mission. And in Berlin, defense minister said that any German military involvement would depend on the situation after a ceasefire. He added that military involvement would only require approval by the German parliament. French President Emmanuel Macron told reporters his country planned to sound out permanent members of the UN Security Council on the possibility of establishing UN framework for future plans once the ongoing exchange of fire had ended to secure navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. For more on this, our correspondent Susan Perani has sent us this report. Listen in.
7 U.S. allies issued a joint statement backing a potential coalition to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a major sign that the White House is still trying to rally international support as the shipping crisis deepens. The group condemned Iran's attack on commercial vessels and energy infrastructure and said that they're ready to contribute to efforts to ensure safe passage. But the statement stopped short of any concrete military pledge or commitment, and several of those countries have already ruled out sending naval forces. The diplomatic timing also stood out. Japan joined at the last minute as Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi was in Washington for talks with President Trump. What happens in the Strait of Hormuz now matters far beyond what happens across the Middle East, because any prolonged disruption there hits global energy markets, trade, and inflation more than it already has. Susan Tafwani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Shalom, shalom, y'all Sharala. It's your brother, Bahayar O'War, coming to you from Tulsa, Oklahoma, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem Ra Kadash, which in an ancient Paleo-Hebrew time, it's correct name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to you sister brothers living in this truth, and shalom to you brothers and sisters that's listening and studying to show yourselves approved. As we can see, y'all Sharala, certain countries, at first they said they weren't going to help Babylon the Great. I said Babylon the Great, talking about the United States of America. And now that everybody's energy has been disrupted, their oil's been disrupted, now they say they will help, but under certain conditions. There has to be a ceasefire in place. And that's going to be something very hard to do. I don't see Iran doing a ceasefire anytime soon. They said it's up, it's stuck, they bang. And I think they just bombed on India, if I'm not mistaken. So countries are pledging to help Babylon the Great. Now here's what's big about that, Yasharala. This is how you know Babylon the Great is losing that war, because now they're hollering for help. I have not seen in my lifetime where Babylon the Great hollers for help to beat somebody. I've never seen that in my lifetime. Usually Babylon the Great go in, they smash whoever's out, just like they did Venezuela, take the resources, and they move on to the next. Now they're fighting somebody who can put up a good fight, and now they hollering for help. Then they got their puppet president talking about, well, I didn't need no help. I just said that to see if they would help. Like, dude, cut the shit, man. Y'all losing over there. That's why you need help to open it up. But the big plan of this, though, because this is all planned out, this is to crash the petrodollar. This is to break the American economy, which will break the world economy, because the petrodollar is the world reserve. That way, the elites can go ahead and go into the MOTB system, the cryptocurrency, with the RFID technology that will be placed under the skin. That was the whole play about this thing. And it's showing the weakness of Babylon the Great. So let me get my first precept. Because we're seeing a lot of biblical prophecy unfold in our eyes. And this one right here is very big to me right here. Because this is Jeremiah 50 and 23. It says, how is the hammer of the old earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And we know that. We can answer that now. It's through the power and the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. See, first Esau, Edom, when I say Esau, into my so-called white man, they're being exposed. Now they're being very exposed. Now they have to make very sloppy moves. And now they done hit a hiccup. They're fighting another nation, and other nations putting up a big fight. Now, I look to see when these other nations kick in. I believe they're going to actually, do something. We'll see. They might do a ceasefire. We'll see how this war go. And when it's all said and done, the bottom of that latter end of that precept will come to fruition. When it said Babylon's become a desolation among the nations, man, Babylon Great right now is becoming a third world nation. I just listened to a clip that said they're losing jobs, the housing market is crashing, and if the gas keep going up $2 to $3 more, it's only going to make everything worse. So that's the Lord saying that the hammer of the whole earth has been cast asunder. Because, you banged on Venezuela real easily, but they can't do Iran like that. They up here crying for help. And the beast done about had it with the whore. The whore represents what? Babylon the Great America. A great whore, a harlot. And the beast, the European Union, they about sick of this country, man. They tired of piggybacking, coming to the aid and getting nothing in return. Just like a whore. An ungrateful whore takes your money and you get nothing back. That's Babylon the Great right now. So the EU is looking, they trying to cut ties with Babylon the Great. Quiet as it said, the only reason they gotta try to help, and Japan is kicking in too, is because most of their oil comes through that strait, the Strait of Hormuz. So they gotta do something to keep their economy going. But if they could do a workaround and not to deal with Babylon the Great, you best believe they would. I can just look at the body language of European world leaders. They don't like Donald Trump. They don't like America. They trying to find their best way to cut it, man. If they wouldn't have been so horrible to China and Russia, they could have gotten to the BRICS. Because you just said you got a whole coalition of nations called BRICS that's not using the petrodollar. The Iranians said everybody can come through with their oil, but the thing is, you got to trade in the yuan, the Chinese yuan. We're not trading in the petrodollar. So now Donald Trump looking real bad on his presidency. So he making all these moves. Brakatham, Salakia. He's making all these moves to try to look good for his base. Because he's looking real bad right now. Real bad. And then they looking bad. I got another clip to show you this how bad they're doing. Let's get that. Check this out, y'all, Sharala. This is how you know they're doing bad.
White House. Iran continuing to strike energy facilities overnight, creating more pressure on, of course, the already rising gas and oil prices.
And with the war in the Middle East,
I want to hear this old fool.
This morning, 3 weeks into President Trump's war with Iran, the Pentagon now preparing to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion to fund the fight. And Secretary Hegseth says they might need even more.
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys.
The president has said this is just an excursion, that the war will end soon. Reporters then asking him why he needs so much more money.
Mr. President, if the war is almost over, why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world.
Trump also implying the money will help build up the military.
So we want to be sure, and it's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy-top.
The president says he has no plans right now to put U.S. boots on the ground, but he's leaving wiggle room.
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops.
It's not clear what exactly the $200 billion would be used for, or how long it would fund this fight. The Pentagon says that just the first week of this war cost over $11 billion, more than $1 billion a day. The new massive $200 billion request is roughly a quarter the cost of the Iraq War, which by one estimate totaled $815 billion over 13 years. On Capitol Hill, members of both parties surprised by the huge request.
It needs to not only be presented, the amount, but the rationale behind it.
The president launched this war without seeking congressional approval. Now lawmakers are demanding details before they agree to sign off.
I think they need to come clean with the American people before they ask for $200 billion.
The president didn't consult American allies before going to war either. On Thursday, as Trump welcomed Japan's prime minister to the Oval Office, a Japanese reporter asking why Japan wasn't given a heads up.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so.
Okay, y'all, Shroud, did y'all peep the Japanese prime minister when that fool said that? Did you see that? Did y'all see that? I'm going to go back play it again. Peep when he said that was dumb. That was a very dumb thing to say what he just did. That was offensive. So Japan is an ally of Babylon the Great. But the thing is, for how long? And Japan didn't forget that Babylon the Great dropped atomic bombs on them. And then you just went to war. You just basically put their whole economy in jeopardy, thinking you can win this war real quick, and then found out you bit off more than you can chew. And then they having a press conference, and he asked a real good question. You hear what Trump just said? That was dumb. But did you see the prime minister? Let's go back. Check her face when she looked at this fool when he said that. It said Japan could jump. Japan is an X factor. If they could secure their resources with either China, Russia, whoever, I see them to jump ship with somebody else. I think Babylon the Great about to lose all their allies. I really do. Just based on the decorum of how they carry themselves. And look at your leader, man. That was dumb. That was a very dumb thing to say. But watch her face when he said that. Like, she looking like, y'all catching this? Y'all catching this? She probably about talking to Russia and China. Like, we be dumping Babylon the Great. So let's go back. Watch this fool.
Okay, why didn't you? And very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us.
The president certainly seeming to shock the Japanese prime minister there. Now, as for this staggering $200 billion request, it has yet to be formally presented to Congress, but is sure to face resistance when it is. Lawmakers want answers before they write that check. Rebecca?
Yes, they want those answers. All right, Mary, thank you.
Now, check it out, Yasser Allah. I'm hearing that certain Republicans are not going to vote to give him that $200 billion. Now, you know Donald Trump is like a mob boss, so expect him to do some bullying tactics, and he'll probably get it like that. But right now, they talking that like, man, I'm done with this dude. This dude is losing so much support. You can see this place is like prepped and ripe for civil war based on the way the Trump administration is moving. Because certain people that was like big time butt kissers, the Donald Trump is now like, you know what? I'm getting off this ride. I'm getting off this ship. This dude is about to straight take us into territory I don't want to go. Why you need $200 billion? You winning the war. That ain't nothing to sneeze at, y'all. Charlotte. You already done sucked up all the money from the people of Babylon the Great. Now you want an additional $200 billion? They said you can't have free health care, universal health care like other countries. They said they even took away people's food stamps for a moment in time. You can't have no free going to college tuition. But yet they got all this money for war. Give me some money so I can go blast some people. And then the way they move it in this war is showing they don't have no good plan. Because Netanyahu ain't gave Trump no orders. So he flying blind. Then the dude got the worst Secretary of Defense I've ever seen in my life, man. That Pete Hegseth dude, that is like a straight, talking about DEI hire. He's a DEI hire. You can tell he's unqualified. He don't know what he's doing. He's just there. He's just there to kiss Trump's butt. That's it. As far as like war and what to do, he don't know. You can look him and tell. All he know how to do is turn a bottle upside down. So this place is finished. And we're watching it, man. It's like they're just flailing around, flopping like a fish. Don't know what they doing. These Edomites are cooked. If the Edomites is cooked, Babylon the Great is cooked. So we're watching it, man. And like, everybody can't stand this dude. You see that Japanese prime minister, she looking like, oh yeah. As soon as we get off this press conference, I'm looking for some different allies. I'm about tired of this country. I can't do it. And it's going to get so bad, I'm going to get this precept right here. We'll end off with this one. Because I can see the Lord's making it where everything is just so visible. When you see this right here, this Revelation 17 and 16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that goes to the priest we read earlier. That's how the hammer of the whole earth is going to be made desolate among the nations. Why? Because you lose your allies. The beast and the whore used to be hand in hand. Now the beast is hating the whore. Because I'm up here banging, fighting, doing what you say. I'm going under. You going under too, but you doing better than me though. And I'm doing all of this stuff and I gonna get nothing. Like the European Union, like France, they asked for help in Africa. When the Africans kicked their butt about their country. And you know what Babylon Great said? Oh, I can't help you. I can't help you. Now here they is getting their butt whooped. They hollering for help from Germany, France, Italy, you know, the whole EU. EU at first like, nope, this is your war. And then what Donald Trump do? Oh, that's shame. Y'all ought to feel ashamed of yourselves. Y'all ain't helping me. Y'all ain't worth nothing. He cried and cried and cried. Now they're saying we might give you some help. He done ran to Japan. Dude done ran all over the place crying for help because he getting whooped. They don't want to tell the American people that, but they over there getting whooped. Yashrala. Iran has handed it to him. Hey, belt the ass to Babylon the Great, making them have to pull their stuff out the back. They ain't want to pull out yet. But they gonna have to if they, want to turn the tides. But ultimately through the scriptures, Babylon the Great is gonna get her issue. She gonna get it. This whore got hell to pay. So this is gonna turn up. It's not gonna quiet down. We're going right into World War III. I'm just waiting for Babylon the Great to take Cuba if they decide to do it. This is gonna kick up, man. The least of the flock is definitely drawing all the countries out to war. They said Japan might have to kick in the war. European Union. Right now they're saying if it's a ceasefire, they'll help. But I think it's gonna get so bad they're gonna have to donate troops and literally roll their sleeves up and fight and help. And it's gonna be all for nothing. Because everybody forget Iran got allies too. They can call on Russia, China, and get help too. which is way better allies and defense than what Babylon the Great got. All Babylon the Great got now is Japan and the EU. When you look at the Israeli forces, they're crumbling, man. They whole leader gone. You don't even know where dude at. You don't even know where BB at. They talking about he dead. You know, my personal opinion, I think he's somewhere hiding. Because this is an embarrassment. They thought it was going to be easy, and it wasn't. And I believe Iran got some more stuff in their back pocket, too. I don't believe we've seen their best yet. So, expect this war to turn up. Expect gas prices to go up. All the food to go up. Inflation going to go up. That Strait of Hormuz, that's a big point where everybody get their goods. So, it's going to make everything go up. So, that's why this dude is so desperate to get it back opened up. This desperation we're seeing from our enemies, Yasharallah. And so I'm so excited to see, how this gonna go. Because we know ultimately how it's gonna go. It ain't gonna go Babylon the Great the way they wanted to. They're gonna have to pivot. So we just pray that this don't hit us so hard. Because we still in the midst of this beast. We still in the hands of the beast. So we pray that Yahweh Shah gives us what we need in order to survive this onslaught of plagues the Lord is about to hit this place with. Because that's what this war is about to do. It's about to bring a bunch of sorrows, a bunch of plagues. It's about to tear this place up, man. And these countries, like Small Hatters, they done drew everybody in the war, man. Everybody going to have to drag into this war. That's the whole atmosphere. That's everything you're hearing. This dude hollering for $200 billion for Congress. That's $200 billion from the taxpayers who are already broke and ain't got no money. That's going to make that civil war get louder as people start to be, they starting to get disillusioned with Trump. They starting to see him for what he is. They starting to see him how we see him. A straight failure. So with that being said, Yasharallah, I hope this has been edifying. I hope it's been informative. I want to say Kwam Yasharallah. Hey, and stay locked in because Yahweh Shah is quickly on the way. Shalom.